Okay. So welcome everybody to the second AGS Weekly Dialogue. In this series, we get to know better our members and their change-making initiative in a question and answer format. Our guest for today is Wan Ting, our Assistant Secretary in the COM. Thank you, Wan Ting, for agreeing to be our guest today. Perhaps we can start with tell us a little bit about yourself.
Thank you for that introduction, Daniel. So hi, my name is Wan Ting over here. Actually, I was thinking as a way of introduction, I wanted to share with you guys two songs. Would that be okay with you guys?
Sure.
Because I always say that, I can talk and share about myself, but I feel like the only way that you'll get to know me, it's really through movement. I feel that it's only in the dance floor that people really get a chance to really know me. But just to give a quick context, so the past week has happened, a lot of things has happened for me, and also a lot of beautiful conversations I had with my clients, right? So I'm a counselor. And also last night, I had a very lovely evening with a couple of ladies, along with Jennifer, who's also on the other call. So the conversation about authenticity keeps coming up. The conversation about being true to yourself. And I had a thought about it, and I think, and of course, being vulnerable, that's part of being authentic. And I think part of the process is also for me to show parts of myself that I don't normally show people. Because as a friend, as a facilitator or a counselor, you see the different facades I have, but you don't really get to see the who I truly am. And that's something honestly I protect very deeply. So I had a thought about it some years back. I wrote two songs. I call them soul song, soul voice, soul song. So basically, to give a context, if you're familiar with it, I believe deep within all of us there is a song that needs to be heard, and this is a song that I wrote when I was many years back, and I think it was during a very difficult time. But it's something that's really important to me. That in my way of showing and sharing myself with you, I would like to share the two songs. Would that be okay?
Sure.
So yeah, so this is for me, it's nothing personal to everyone, and sometimes when I share very deeply, I do sometimes get emotional. I might shed a couple of tears. I just want to check that's okay with you guys, right? Oh yeah, okay. So thank you for allowing me the chance to kind of share this with you guys.
Are
So
you
I just want
singing?
I am going to sing. It is a
Oh,
song.
exciting.
It's a song. It's not a poetry. So you have to forgive me if my vocals are not whatever, because it's a song with the voice. So I just want to share with you. I think it's gonna maybe take 2 or 3 minutes. So before I start, if I could just invite everyone to just be present with me, to take a deep breath in through your nose and out through your mouth, to maybe close your eyes if you feel comfortable. So this is my sharing with you, all of you who are here. This is a piece of me, this is a part of me, and I would like to share with you my two soul songs. This is the story I'll sing. Maybe someday someone will hear, but for now, alone I stand, singing my songs of tears. Ooh, 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 ooh. Ooh, 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 ooh. Ooh, ooh, ooh. This is the story I'll sing. Maybe someday someone will hear. But for now, alone I stand, singing my songs of tears. But for now, alone I stand, singing my songs of tears. I have a wandering soul, I've searched for home. Maybe one day I will be where you'll be. This place I call my home. Ooh, 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 I have a wandering soul. For years I've searched for home. Maybe one day I will be where you'll be. This place I call my home. And one day I'll know I'm home.
Thank you, Wan Ting.
I should have prepared some tissues. I'm just gonna be in this mess. I hope you guys are okay.
It's
Because
fine.
I can't see you very well because I'm not wearing my glasses, but
It's okay.
I just want to say thank you for receiving me. And the reason why I chose to share a song as an introduction, because I realized in all my life, I have people only see the strong side of me, the person who speaks up, who stands for things. And I realized I never had a chance to show the times when I get hurt, I get upset, and I get sad and angry and disappointed. So, in honor of AGS, in honor of the people I met the past week and my clients, I just want to take the first step to start off by being vulnerable because it's easy to be tough, but for me, it's hard to be soft. So, thank you for receiving me.
Thank you, Wan Ting.
I'm gonna mute myself to start sniffling.
Thank you for that very lovely song. Is it okay if I ask you a question about the song? In the song, you mentioned that you are alone I stand, that you're a wandering soul, and that you're looking for home. Can you tell us more about what that means?
Do I look decent?
Yes, you cannot see any tears over the video.
Awesome. Thank you, technology. So, you were asking about home, standing alone in Tian. Okay, I have full permission from you guys to break down and cry halfway through, right?
Yes, everything will be recorded. No problem.
I loved it. So could you repeat the question again so I could fill into your question, please?
So what does it mean by when you say alone I stand, you're a wandering soul, and you're looking for home? What does that mean?
Okay, so I just quickly so I'm 31 this year, turning 32, I think. But for the longest of time, I think we all in our own way start our own journey of finding who we are. And I started my journey when I was 18, when I asked like, who is Wan Ting, and that was a very pivotal question because 18 years empire, I was always someone who acted or behaved in ways that would get me a sense of belonging, acceptance. Anything got me anywhere, of course. So that was those years. And in my later part, when I was 22, I started dancing a lot, and that was how I've kind of found myself. And when I started dancing, it was important for me because at the age of 22, that's when I found out like I could finally speak for the first time. Like all my life, I never felt I could speak up. So I found my voice and just dancing a lot of finding myself, a lot of destroying, because a lot of the identities weren't not me. And when I started dancing, I noticed, so I come from the movement background, which says that the body, the movement says a lot about where we are, and we use that to heal our body. And when I started dancing, my hands was always going outwards, like I was looking for something. And to be honest with you, even today I teach about body embodiment. In my earlier part of my life, I was not in my body. I don't live in this body. I can't feel my emotions. I can't feel my body. I was very, very disconnected. And I was doing a lot of hurtful things to myself because it's painful and you want to be alive. And there will be people out there that will resonate the things that you do to keep yourself alive. So throughout all my time, it's been very tough for me. And till this day, I still feel the same. I'm just thankful I have a partner who understands me. But a lot of time, it's been hard for me to be authentic. My work is about authenticity because I find that when I sit as who I am, it inevitably triggers people. I have just by being myself, by speaking, by being emotional, by sharing, it has been very uncomfortable for many people. And it's nothing personal because I realize in my work, I am a catalyst that when I come into your life, I shake things up. I make people question and I challenge people. This is why I'm a counselor, this is why I'm a trainer, and why I'm who I am. But because of the traits that I carry, life has not been easy. Everywhere I go, I've been misunderstood, I've been rejected, I've been projected more times than I want to count. And which is why in a conversation with you, Daniel, and when we first connected, I don't like to spend time with people. I don't like to spend time with people. It's very hard for me. So that's kind of like my journey, feeling a lot about being alone. And a period of my life, I work with older adults, even though a lot of them were 2, 3 times my age. But I could understand because I understood many things that they gone through, feeling so disconnected, so isolated. So, which is why, for whatever is happening, like, I want to step fully into who I am. And so my world, if I could quickly share, is like, I really love movement. I really love authenticity. And my vision, my role is, I hope for the world where every single expression is allowed. Every single color, emotions, thoughts, and feelings, it's allowed. But of course, with that freedom, with that choice, with that freedom comes responsibility that when I say something, it's about me, it's not about you. And this is what I believe will change. Because for those of you who had a chance to talk with me, I always say this, it's so important to come to the body, to be connected with yourself. Because when you are here, you cannot find it in yourself to hurt anyone. I cannot hurt Han or Daniel or Melody or Milia or Vincent because when I hurt any one of you here, I feel it in my body. That is a reality. We are so interconnected, which is why I feel so strongly about this work, about the body, about being here. But it's tough. It is painful because when you come back and own yourself, for me, my journey, I had to look back everything I rejected, my pain, my disappointment. And I tell some of my clients and friends now that work this deep work, many times you feel like dying. And I've died a few times over. I have left the dance floor with broken bones, bruised body, scratches all over my body because it's that painful. But this is also why I can sit where I am today to talk about the things, to have the relationship that I have. Because I realized that I was worth fighting for. And that by dimming my light, I'm doing no one any justice. Like if I don't claim who Wan Ting is, no one in this world will know who she is. So I think that was a long answer to your question, but that was my answer.
Thank you for that. I wanna
Thank you, love.
I wanna ask you this question that I always ask people when I meet them. So thank you for sharing a lot about your not a lot, but very in depth about your past, but I want to take a different look at it. So you mentioned that you are now 31 going on 32, right? Okay, so imagine that we are having this conversation and it's 3 years in the future. 3 years from now, you're now 34 going on 35. Okay? Looking back over these 3 years back to today, what must have happened in your life, your personal or your professional life, in order for you to be happy with your progress?
That was really long. Could you shorten down for me so I can understand your question?
Okay, you're now 34 years old.
Yes, I'm 34.
Looking back over the time from between 31 to 34, what must have happened in order for you to be happy with your progress?
To be happy with my progress, that was your question.
Yes.
Oh my God, I extremely dislike this question. Let me have a think about that. I feel this is a very deeply vulnerable question for me for some reason. This is why by the way, if you haven't realized, I have an extreme dislike for vulnerability. um, what must have happened for me to make the progress in a way that I'm so afraid to say it, but for me, I feel the only way I can be where I want to be is to be honest and confront all the time, every single moment, non-negotiable. For me, I like to think, and this is just my perspective, that I've come a very long way to understand myself. But I am still not where I'm meant to be. I still get confused. And so many times I've compromised myself. Like I shared with someone I don't know who recently, like many times for me to deliver a talk with an organization, I feel like I have to cut off a leg or an arm just to go in and share. Because in my raw form, no one can accept me. My wish is that I can still be myself and touch the hearts of every single person. And that means to me is to be authentic all the time without compromising. And that means to have difficult conversations all the time. And it's tough for me because I'm freelance. Anytime you speak out of the way, that's your job gone, that's your money gone. It has a very real thing for me. So this is why it's so scary. So what is more important? Food, I think Danny might have something to say. Is it food or is it, what really matters? I don't know. This is just what I feel. So for me, I'm deeply uncomfortable with the question, but it may seem oversimplified. For me, what is so important, I can speak up all the time, that I can speak up all the time and take responsibility for what I say and do. And I can't care about what the other person do. I just can't do that. I've been trying that too hard. Like, how can I make the other person comfortable? To lower my energy, lower myself, my space, make myself small. I literally change my body so people feel more comfortable. But that's not who I am. I'm not like that. So that will be my answer to your question, Daniel. I hope that makes sense what I just shared.
I'm glad it's recorded so I can go back and watch it over and over again.
Alrighty.
Then I think there's a lot of wisdom in what you shared. It just I think it needs to be unpacked a bit more. Yeah. Okay. But let me ask you then in a simple way. Okay. So if you were talking to a 10-year-old, a 10-year-old comes up to you and says, Auntie Wan Ting, what do you do? How do you answer them?
Right now where I am, how I want to answer?
Yeah, answering to a 10-year-old. So
At this moment, right?
Yeah, at this moment.
I live life and I enjoy life. That's what I do.
Wow. Okay. I don't know how to continue
I
this.
felt like I have thrown your script out into the window.
You did that the moment you started singing a song, so
You're welcome. I am taking that as a gratitude. You're welcome.
like okay, so if the 10-year is asking you like, you need to buy food, you need money, what do you do to get that?
Like the 10-year asked me, oh, but you need to work and have money, right? What do you do? Is it?
Yeah.
Okay, no problem. So, I feel depends on the context, but if it's appropriate, I feel like I want to hug and affirm and love the little kid first, because I feel like kid these days don't really get much of that. But after I kind of done that, I kind of want to check in the kid first where he or she is, and then I'll answer the question. How do I get money? Well, so what I do is I'm a counselor, but more importantly, I think I impact and change people's lives. That's what I do. Yeah, that's what I do.
That's the simple enough.
That's what I do.
Okay, we're 20 minutes into this dialogue, so I'm going to open up to the floor. I do have more questions for you, but I'm going to open up to the floor first to see if anybody here wants to ask you a question.
Go for it.
So we have with us today Vincent and Milia, Melody, and Ihan. Does any of you have a burning question that you'd like to ask Wan Ting?
Okay, since everyone's still thinking, let me shout out first what's on the top of my mind. Firstly, I really want to thank Wan Ting for your courage, especially when you said you are not comfortable being vulnerable, like I guess all of us. Still being willing to share this very private part of your life, of yourself. So wanted to ask how did it feel singing that song?
Thank you for your question, Ihan. And I want to first start by acknowledging, I feel really grateful that I got a chance to connect with Ihan also privately before. And even though it's a short connection we made, I really like the interaction that we had. I just wanted to let you know that. So how do I feel? To be honest, when I thought about it this morning, it felt very anxiety provoking for me. I have a big thing about feeling safe. So for me, feeling safe is a very difficult thing. So I struggle with anxiety a lot. I think there were many thoughts. Maybe I did feel like I want to back off. Maybe I was worried my voice would crack or forget my lyrics, but but I think I was really trying to find my voice back. So usually when I sing, I do drum. I have a drum, we drum and sing. But I think that would be too much for the space if I brought in my drum. A drum would help me ground my space and ground myself. But when I find my voice breaking, I just think about I just thought about women, people who gives me strength. I think about my clients. And by the way, for those of you who inspire to be counselor, it's crazy amazing to be a counselor, okay? When people share the things, the courage they take to do whatever they are in life, and you walk away from a session like, did I do that myself? You better go and check. So my clients in their way have been checking me, okay? Like, have you go and done this? So I cannot help but to keep moving forward. I cannot speak about my work and don't walk my talk. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. So that was that. And many times and it's a lot about collecting myself because like I said, it's deeply vulnerable. Like I just feel like I want to crumble and fall apart to be honest, but I know you must persist through. So that was what it is. Yeah. Yeah, but you're right. I extremely hate being vulnerable. I'm gonna process this after I'm done here. Yeah, but I had a conversation with a women's circle who came last night. So I always say that I'm an open book. Like I don't hide anything. But the thing about me is that I always feel that there's always a thin invisible, like transparent, whatever you call it. Because while you're looking at me, you don't really see me. The one last thing that I hold very close to my heart is my emotion. That is the one thing I never show with anyone. Because for me, I feel like if I let people know what I deeply care about, what really affects me, I just feel very, I don't know, vulnerable. And I feel like people has abused that trust before. So even where I am today, it's a lot of thanks to my partner because my partner confronted me. How can you be in a relationship and not open your heart? We had a lot of fights about it, of course, but he stood up to me and I stood up to him. So it is my wish that I can begin to share more with people. But I don't know if you guys feel it, but it is tough when people are real because in order to receive that, you need to dig deep into yourself in the same place to sit with that person. And not many people, in my circle at least, are able to do that. I love my friends, by the way. But to have that kind of depth to sit deep in yourself, not many. I do have them, just not many. I hope I answer your question directly or indirectly.
Thank you. And yeah, I'm touched. I don't know why, but something you said, there's something here.
You know, one thing I love about talking to Wan Ting is that you can ask her almost any question and you can get a whole lot of answers from her. that's not necessarily related to the question, but it tells you a lot about her.
So true, oh my god. You hit the nail on the head, Daniel. No, I wanna respond really quickly and thank you to that. I absolutely agree with you. And to be honest, that's the reason why people struggle to talk to me. I cannot talk with people. Like, like what's the Chinese? 油头不对马嘴, right? So I can't remember if I shared with any one of you here. So just a quick one, right? So I'm a very feeling person. So I talk through feelings and sensation. So I realize when I talk to people, people always don't get me. And I thought the problem was with me. But I have a few girlfriends that are really into body like myself. And then when I talk about like the spine and this and that, they get it. I was like, oh wait, it's just that we talk differently. So for me, I had to learn to talk to people, like go to the head, use words, use this. It's very tiring, but I got there eventually. But yeah, you're so right. It doesn't come natural to me. For me to talk with my partner, who is very cognitive, I'm very body and heart. He has to come down to the heart level to talk. So that's where we speak all the time, heart to heart. Especially the difficult conversation. That's how it supports us. Because in the mind, we always say there's a right way and a wrong way to do things. So we always interpret based on what happened before. And with the past, there tend to be a lot of hurt. This is why we end up sometimes hurting each other. That's what I feel. But thank you for that, Daniel. I feel like you acknowledge my challenge in life. But it's true, I do I really do struggle. I hope that's okay. I'm trying my best, okay, to like really answer question to question.
I can understand how that is a very it can be a real challenge in life. How you say, it's an obstacle to communication for some people who don't understand you. But I'm glad that we had our chat earlier already, so I understand a bit more about you. Anyone else wants to ask a question?
I have a question, but I mean, okay, I'll try to keep it simple. So, very first of
Thank
all,
you.
one thing, would you say that you're a spiritual person?
So that's a really beautiful question, Amelia. Thank you for that. So I actually wouldn't say I'm a spiritual person before. The reason for that is you remember I said that I always just dance. That was my jam. I didn't care about anything else, and all I cared about was dancing. And I did a lot of healing on the dance floor, and I can share with you if you're interested. But the more I dance, just a very quick snapshot, the more I dance, and I think I shared this with Daniel too, the more things were happening that I couldn't really explain, that I couldn't explain like, by normal terms. And by the time I realized that like there was something much more going on. And where I am right now, spirituality, it is important to me. And for some of my clients that we work deeper with, it's always something that I will come and touch eventually if they are kind of open to it. The reason why it's so important is because, in fact, Daniel, in the other meeting shared that I have 6 tattoos, just one quick one. And one of the tattoos I have is an Ouroboros. So the Ouroboros, if you know it, is a symbol, it's a tail devourer, comes across different civilization. The idea of that is where we come from. We'll go back to that eventually. So it kind of is eating its own tail. And that's how I see life is, you know. I shared it with someone, I can't remember who, but we start off by just individuating. Like I'm Wan Ting, I'm unique, I'm this, we want to be different. But we know this is in called midlife crisis. People who are 80s just about to pass off, they start questioning about religion, about life. It's like we want to kind of like disappear into something, into whatever, de-individuation, if you will. And this is just kind of what I believe in. No matter what, we'll always come back to the same place. It's just a matter of time and everything. And when it comes with spirituality, I kind of lost the context I was talking about. Just give me a minute.
I asked one question. No, but yeah,
No,
yes.
this is my fault. I feel too much. I'm like thinking too much.
Yeah.
I think about spirituality, right? So I think that the thing that I want to talk about is when things get really really tough, and I've been there before. Life just doesn't make sense. There's no one there for you. You feel like you're gonna like break open. Nothing is gonna happen. I find that faith, spirituality is the one thing that will pull you through, and it pulled me through before, which is why for people who are open, I do touch it. I think it's very important. And spirituality to me is just simply like, knowing and honoring the truth of who you are. That's all it is. However you want to call it. So yeah, that's really important to me. In fact, right now I try to, I don't know if I can do this, split my life. So I'm very discerning with my time. So the majority of my work is just focus on the work that I do and I care about. The rest of the time is actually focused on spirituality, and I don't really want to get involved in anything else. So while I don't have a lot going in my life, my schedule is very packed up because there's nothing else I have space for. So yeah, spirituality is a very big part of me. Is that important to you too, Amelia? Can I ask if that's okay?
Well, I isn't the reason why I asked was because I never thought that I was a spiritual person until
Yeah.
my friend started like associating me with like a lot of things. For some reason, there's this
Yeah.
perception among my friend group that I sage things, even though I do
Ah.
not. But
Mm.
yeah, for some reason over the years, I have come to be like, at least in my friends' eyes, someone who is very mindful of themselves and their body. And I
Yeah.
just, it didn't happen intentionally. So that's kind of why I asked, because
Mm.
it does seem like you are very attuned to your own emotions and who you are as a person. So I was just wondering what the intentionality behind that was, or was it really just a you navigating through life and
Right.
then spirituality just kind of became a big part of that?
I hear you. If I could just reflect what I just hear, I think what I'm feeling, this is just what I feel based on what you said earlier. I think as long as you keep on honoring who you are every single moment, you speak your truth, you act on your truth, it eventually will happen. Whether you're looking for it or not, you cannot run away from it. That's what it is. Spirituality at the end is the truth. Anything that's not truth will fall away. So if you just follow who you are, I think who you're meant to be will blossom. And people will always see you and describe you the way from their perspective, but it doesn't matter. You just gotta know who you are and live it. That's just what I feel. So thank you for asking the question, Billy. I love it. Thank you for that.
Thank you, Amelia. Anyone else wants to ask a question? Just note of caution: if you ask a question, you may not get the answer,
Absolutely. Thank you for that.
but you will get a different answer.
But you
There-
will get an answer.
You will
Just
get an
not
answer.
the one you're looking for. But you
Yeah.
will.
Anyone wants to ask a question? If not, I will ask you a question. One thing, you are familiar with TED Talks, I assume. So for those who are unfamiliar, TED Talks are where people get invited to give a speech about an idea that they think is worth spreading. So if you were invited to give a TED Talk, what would it be about?
Emotions.
Tell us more.
Don't need to think. Confirm emotion. Lots of topic, but confirm emotion first. Oh, can I give my mini TED Talk now? So
Got 7
the
minutes.
no, not enough time, right? The reason why I want to talk about emotions is because I feel like emotions get a lot of bad rap, and also because we struggle so much with emotions, right? And I remember we had this talk too, Daniel. But the reason why I want to speak about emotions, like in all of my talks and with my clients, when I get a chance to, I always share this, right? When someone tells us something, it's important we don't take it wholesale. The reason for that is because what may work for someone else may not work for you. So what is important is we have the openness to hear. If you're willing to try it out, works, take it. Don't work, we throw it away. So where I come from with emotions, the reason why I'm so passionate about it is many times we think that it's emotions is the problem. It's not the problem. It's often the way that we deal with it. Like we ignore, suppress, distract, or numb ourselves, right? Which is the worst. So whenever emotions happen, for example, like all emotions are they're just information. Every single time we feel an emotion is trying to tell us something. So if it's okay, I just want to share really quick about anger. Like I talked with this with Daniel, and this is an emotion I'm super passionate about. The reason for that is because anger gets such a bad rap in our world society. When you get angry, people are like, "What are you angry for? Angry for what?" And then you get judged and we get shamed. But if we take a moment to pause and think about all the different times that we get angry, whenever anger is in the picture, what is happening is that the body is trying to tell us that someone has crossed our boundaries, taken advantage of us, or done something to us that we are not okay with. If someone speaks down to you or does something to you, the anger that is telling you, hey, one thing, you need to do something about it. Stand up for yourself, protect yourself, remove yourself. The important thing to discern here is it's what is a perceived sense of wrong. As long as I feel that this person in front of me, whatever they do, is not okay, the emotion will come out. It's not about what is right or wrong, it's a perceived sense of wrong. And the reason why I feel so strongly about anger is when we tell people not to be angry, we take their power away from them. In this world, I only speak my experience in Singapore where I'm in Asian culture, we cannot do no's. And as a consequence, we've been taken away of our no. When we say no, it's not respected. And the consequence of that is what we have is very ambiguous no. Or the worst I've heard is like I say no, the person kind of denied it, didn't respect it. And we see that a lot in relationship between men and women also. So there's a dire consequence to it. And when we don't have a proper boundary, proper no, what we have is a lot of assumption. And that's when relationships start to fall apart. So the reason why I want people to claim back the anger, we think anger is really scary. But once you release it, that's what it is. It's just a reaction. I think the important thing we need to know is emotion. If we are not our emotion, we're not our anger. It's just a reaction. So yeah, TED Talk on emotions, to embrace it. And the way that we work with emotions is very, very different. So that's what I would love to share with the world if I get a chance to. Yeah.
Thank you, Wan Ting. You know that
Did
when
I
I was
answer your question?
yes, you did.
Say
You did. You did.
it. Eh?
You did. Very good.
Thank you.
So I also want to thank you because you came to speak to me about my anger that day as I was leaving. I came to realize that it's very true that you really do feel anger when you perceive that somebody has crossed your boundaries. And for me, that helped me to address my own issue. Actually, and I definitely relate to what you said about the how in Singapore we a lot of people can't take no for an answer. Like I just said no to somebody I knew, and then he refused to take that. I just asked him, why can't you take no for an answer? And he said, I will take no only if it's beneficial to everyone. If it's not, but this your no is not beneficial to everyone, so why should I take your no? Like,
Oh my gosh.
yeah. So okay. Before I ask you another question, anybody else from the floor? Okay, got time for one more question. Anyone? If nobody, I'll grab my next question and ask you in relation to what you just said. If you can change just one thing about Singapore in your lifetime, what would it be?
Very big question. Can you narrow it down for me?
If you have only time in your life to make one big difference in Singapore, only one. It's very narrow already. What would it be?
You mean I need to do something to change it, right? That's what you're saying.
Yeah. If you can change something in
Oh,
Singapore.
wow. Daniel, I want to say I love you, but I really don't like your questions. I want to put it on the table first. If I want to change one thing about Singapore and I need to take actions towards it, I think if there's one thing I want to change, not just Singapore, but I'm just happy to just start with the people around me. I think I really would love to kind of be able to initiate by just having honest conversation. Like we can talk about difficult things that, if Daniel, you said something I'm not okay with. Daniel, I hear you, but I'm not okay with what you just said. I just would like to start with that. I think that enough is really powerful. Yeah. That's just what I feel. I'm not very greedy. I'm a very greedy person, but I choose not to be greedy this moment. Yeah, that's what I would change. That's honest conversation.
Okay, so that's definitely something you definitely walk the talk, because you upfront told me just now that Daniel, I don't like.
It's true. I really don't like your question, and it made me feel uncomfortable. But it doesn't change the fact that I love you for who you are. What I feel about you has nothing to do with what I feel about you. Does that make sense?
In a way, I guess.
Wait, did I got that right? What I feel about what I feel about what you do has nothing to do with what I feel about you. Yeah, that's correct. That's correct. Yeah, but sometimes what happens is you take it very personal. If I tell you, Daniel, I don't like your question, some people take it very personal, and this is how a lot of misunderstanding happen. Which is why again, honest conversation is so powerful. When we just acknowledge the emotion, then we can talk about it. If we just pretend to be, like proper, which is how we were taught, unfortunately, what happens is we are speaking and acting in ways that we didn't realize is not honoring us anymore. So at least for me, I really appreciate the difficult conversation, no matter how difficult they are. And they are very difficult for me. They are very difficult for me too.
Yeah, honest
So,
conversations are really hard to get, because they take such a great investment of time and emotional energy, and some people
does.
just are not willing to give that. Okay, thank you, Wan Ting. So, what I wanted to say is that, yeah, so one thing in the short time that I've known you, you are a person who you cannot have a short time to know one thing. If you want to meet one thing, you need to set aside at least 90 minutes to 2 hours to have a real in-depth conversation with her. and you're not going to get answers that you to the questions that you ask, but you will get so much more. There's so much wisdom. So for those of you who are listening to this weekly dialogue, I invite you to try to carve a bit of time out of her schedule so that you can have a little one-to-one time with Wan Ting. She's an amazing person to meet. Okay, so we've come to the end of this segment with talking to Wan Ting. We will move into our next segment.